Hey, what's up guys, DRC3 here, back with another My Hero Ultra Impact video, and today we are going to be creating a tier list for PvP and the characters that are the most optimal to run on your PvP team. I've seen quite a few people in the Discord asking what characters are the better ones to run for PvP teams, what should you throw into your teams to build. I did make it to Legend rank last season, so I have gotten a pretty good look at what other people are using for teams. The characters I have used, I have quite a few characters, I don't have all of them, but I've been able to see what they do, and I know which characters really just destroy and which ones are pretty good. So I'm going to do my best to put together a tier list here for you guys. Now keep in mind, I am new to the game, just like most of you guys. I started playing on the global release. So with that said, I haven't gotten the chance to play every single character, but I've gotten quite a few of these characters, and I've gotten the chance to play with quite a few of them, or against quite a few of them. So I have a general idea, for the most part, of what they do. And I'm not going to go in any particular order, but I'm just going to kind of put them all in their spots, and I'll try to give you a brief explanation for why I put each one where I put them. But because there's so many characters, I might not go too in-depth on every character, just because I don't want this video to last, 2 hours. Alright. So first off, let's start with the simplest character, the one that I think I would probably put as the best PvP character in the game right now. I would say that is the Yellow Aizawa. He is just ridiculous because of his speed, number one, and then he's also ridiculous because of his binding and his ability to mess up enemy skill chains, which is really, really useful. The next characters I would put into the tier list for the SS tiers would be this Kirishima here and the other Kirishima, the blue and red Kirishimas. Both Kirishimas are really good. There's debate whether the blue Kirishima is better or the red Kirishima is better. Blue Kirishima gives you barriers, red Kirishima gives you damage cut. Either way, they're both really good. It doesn't really matter which one you run on your team. I would say perhaps the blue Kirishima is slightly better because a lot of people are going to be running blue Bakugo on the team, and blue Kirishima has an auto passive that increases the health of all ABL type characters on your team. So the blue Kirishima might be slightly better in PvP. Hard to say exactly. Okay, next I'm going to go Nejire. A lot of people would probably agree that she is a top tier unit. If not SS, she's at least S. I didn't quite put her in the SS category just because she lacks damage, but all the way around she is the best support in the game. She's still S tier, really, really good. She has the passive healing for 3 turns after her plus ultra. She also has the active healing, and then she has the attack all damage, which is very good. A lot of people will run her, a combination of Nejire, Kirishima, and blue Bakugo, or Nejire, Kirishima, and Aizawa. So with that said, let me go ahead and throw the blue Bakugo up here. Okay, this blue Bakugo is really good because he increases his speed by a percentage. So whatever speed you have, he's going to increase it by a certain percentage depending on how much you've leveled up your piece board and your basic board. I think at most it's 50%. And then he also increases his damage with each turn by 3% up to 30%, and then with each enemy vanquished, he's going to increase his damage again. So the blue Bakugo is really, really good in PvP, but hard to run because he is very squishy if you don't have a Kirishima or a tank. So all the characters I have up here on the screen currently, I put them up here first because these are the characters I'd recommend for like a top tier team. Those are going to be the characters that are probably best to start with if you have them. If not, from here on out, the rest of these characters are good options, but probably not the best for a regular team. Probably going to be second best. So next, I'm going to throw up Uraraka, the green one. She is a really good support in this game because she gives evasion to your characters. She also heals. She just does not do a ton of damage. Her counter's okay, but it doesn't work very well when she doesn't draw aggro. So she's okay in PvP. I'm also going to put Yaoyorozu, the blue one, in A rank as well. because let's just face it, she's not as good as Najiri. She does have decent healing, she does have a decent attack all and plus ultra damage, but I feel like Najiri just does more and she does it better. So that's why I want to put Najiri in S rank while we keep Yaoyorozu in A rank. Okay? And then moving on from there, let's do Blue Air Force Deku. This one's kind of arguable. You could probably move him up a little bit. I am going to keep him in A rank because he's kind of like Bakugo, but Bakugo just does it better, I would say. Unfortunately, a lot of the Dekus in this game kind of get shafted. Don't get me wrong, this blue Bakugo is probably blue Midoriya. I don't know what I'm saying. A lot of the Midoriyas get shafted. This blue Midoriya is probably one of the better Midoriyas in the game, but I don't think he's quite S tier or double S tier. Feel free to debate that. Let me know in the comments what you think. But basically, I just don't think he does as good as Bakugo in PvP. Alright, and next I'm going to do the Green Hawks. Green Hawks I would put in S tier because he gives your whole team dodge, he does attack all, and then he has pretty potent active skill along with that, that's single targeted, and then his plus ultra is also really strong. Hawks is a really strong character. Also a good, solid option to run with a Kirishima Najiri team if you don't have the Aizawa or the Blue Bakugo, so Hawks is a really good option, really good character to use. Then I am going to put Endeavor up next. Endeavor probably goes in A tier. Some people might want to say S tier. Based on my experience with him, he is a hard hitter. He can attack all. He gets more damage as he loses health. And he has a chance to burn the enemy. Overall, Endeavor is very, very strong. The only bad side to him is that he doesn't do a lot to help the team, and he doesn't put a lot of debuffs on the enemy other than burn. He might deserve better than A tier, but just in my opinion, I think the characters that I put in S tier and double S tier are going to be just slightly better than Endeavor. And you'll see that kind of trend with all the characters I put in A tier. They're really good. They're just not quite S tier, not quite double S tier. Alright, so with that said, my next character I'm going to put in A tier is All Might. All Might, this is the strength All Might, not the All Might you get from the USJ shop. This All Might is really good for damage, just like Endeavor. And he hits really hard, however he can die pretty quickly. He is kind of squishy, so that's why I'm putting him in A tier. And then my next character, let's do Overhaul. Overhaul is kind of a pain to go against if you put him on the right team in the right slot where he's not being targeted, because he can put out massive amounts of damage, and then when he does get targeted, if you find a way to keep him alive, maybe give him a UR memory with Last Stand or something like that, he automatically heals all his health back up, so that makes him really good. But he's still just not quite an S tier or double S tier because he can be melted down pretty quickly. He's kind of glass cannon. Alright, and then next I'm going to do this Green Todoroki. Now, I kind of debated whether putting this Green Todoroki in double S tier or S tier, like which one to put in between. I am going to put him in double S tier because of his attack all freeze. That freeze can be huge because it creates an automatic crit for the next person to attack. He also has his fire, which is a burn, and you have a chance to burn everybody as well. So he is really good for his skills. He also, once you level him up, has a massive amount of health compared to other characters. So he just takes hits like a champ. And then his plus ultra also has the chance to freeze and burn, so that makes him a great character as well. A lot of status ailments to your enemies, and that is very helpful in the end. Specifically, the freezes are very helpful when you can chain freezes between this Green Todoroki, and then while we're at it, the blue World Heroes Missions Todoroki. If you have them on a team together, they can chain CC, basically. And then the neat thing about this blue World Missions Todoroki is that he has the ability to reduce damage and increase skill impact. So when you have these two together, they're a very potent and strong combo. But you got to be careful because this blue Todoroki will often be targeted in PvP and the enemies will try to kill him off quickly. So if you do run him and the green Todoroki together with maybe a Nigiri or something, you're going to want to run a memory that reduces damage on this blue Todoroki. Just as a piece of advice, I ran that for a long time in Legend before I got a Kuroshima, because I didn't have a Kuroshima. I'd run this blue Todoroki as my tank, and for the first 2 turns I had a UR memory that would reduce his damage, and then on the second turn, because I usually didn't have the speed to have the first turn, I would use my damage reduction skill, so I basically get 4 turns of damage reduction, and this guy was an awesome tank. So keep that in mind, World Heroes Todoroki. Very, very good. That's why I'm putting him in double S tier. The Blue Hawks is on the new ABL banner. I'm going to put him in the A tier. This is actually one of the characters I haven't gotten the chance to use yet because I have not summoned him. From what I hear and what I've seen in the Discord is that he is basically just a really good tank. Or sorry, tank. A tank nuker is what I would say. He can nuke tanks really quickly, like Kuroshima. So he is a decent character, but the reason he goes in A tier is because he can reduce his own defense, which is kind of funny. And then he's just, once again, a glass cannon. So if you don't have a way to protect him, he is not the greatest. But if you run him with a Kuroshima, he could be okay. Mirio is next for my A tier. A tier is huge for me. Once again, these are all characters that are really good, just not quite S and not quite double S. Mirio goes in A tier because he can dodge. He has the ability to draw aggro, and he can tank plus ultras pretty well. Really good character for helping himself. At times, though, I would say Hawks' dodge is better because it applies to the whole team, whereas Mirio's only applies to himself. So that's why Mirio goes in A tier, because Mirio and Hawks are very similar, but Hawks just does it better. Okay? And then next, let's do the World Heroes Missions Bakugo. This Strength Bakugo is cool. He has a cool animation. I think it's one of the coolest animations in the game. I really like him. I actually did not pull him. I pulled the World Heroes Midoriya and the World Heroes Todoroki, so I haven't gotten a chance to use this Bakugo, so my opinion could be a little bit biased. But based on the people I've faced who have this Bakugo, he always seems to just go down so quickly and without doing a lot of damage compared to what I've seen from the blue Bakugo or even the purple Bakugo. So this Bakugo, just in terms of damage and in terms of tankability, like from what I've seen, I don't think he's quite A tier. I'd put him in B tier, which is why he is being placed here. And then while we're at it, let's throw in the World Heroes Midoriya, who is a destruction type unit. He is also not very great. He can do a lot of damage based on his speed. If you give him the speed items and so on and so forth, he can do more damage. But once again, a glass cannon, and because he's so reliant on speed, he's only ever going to get so much damage. So not super amazing. Then we'll do the green toga. So people may disagree with this one, but I actually put the green toga in A tier because of her chances to bleed and all the effects that she does to the enemy team, and she can create evasion for herself once per turn, or sorry, once when she uses a plus ultra, so that's really good for the green toga. And the bleeds are huge, and the damage she does is pretty decent once you awaken her, so green toga goes in A tier, whereas blue toga actually goes a tier below. I'd put her in B tier because this blue toga focuses all on getting her plus ultra, and she can't really do a lot of damage until she gets her plus ultra, and she doesn't have as many chances to bleed. Granted, her one attack does have a medium chance to bleed, but that's one attack as opposed to green toga's 2 attacks that have a chance to bleed. So that's why the blue toga goes in B tier, because she does what green toga does, just worse. Alright, and then next, let's do Yayarosa. Nope, we already done Yayarosa. Okay, let's do Asui. Alright, Asui, I'm also going to put in A tier. Now, once again, another character I do not have not pulled them on the ABL banner. I probably won't be doing any more summons on the ABL banner because I got Kirishima, I got Air Force Deku, and I got the Yayarozo. But this Asui does have some pretty good debuffs. When I went and looked at her kit, she has the chance to reduce crits and things like that for the enemy team, and reduce speed, I think. So that would put her in A tier just in terms of helping your team with survivability. I think she can help your team a lot with survivability, so I put her in A tier. However, her effects are single targeted on enemies, so that keeps her from being an S tier or double S tier. Okay, All for One also goes in A tier. I'm putting him here for the same reason that I put Endeavor and All Might here. He does a lot of damage, and he does have his attack all, which does debuff enemies, so makes him pretty good. I would actually say he might be slightly better than the All Might and the Endeavor, but I wouldn't put him quite S tier, so if there's like a tier between A and S, All for One might go there. Okay? And Shinso. Let's put Shinso in B tier. Shinso belongs in B tier because he does have decent debuffs. The debuffs are not to be overlooked, and he does have decent damage. So I would put him in B tier. However, it's just not consistent enough damage, and it's not consistent enough debuffs, so he stays in B tier instead of being A or S. And then from there, let's do this Midoriya. This Midoriya, oh, my D and C tier got switched. Let me see if I can switch these around. Hold on. Go down. There we go. I put this Midoriya in D tier. The green Midoriya. Oh man, what is there to say about this guy? He is actual just trash. He's not very good. That's my opinion, of course. If you love this character, I'm sorry if I offend you. Let me know in the comments. But he is just not good compared to every other Midoriya in the game. Every other one will be better. Okay, so based on that, from there, let's do the other Midoriyas really quickly. Okay, so these other Midoriyas, I would put in both of them in C tier because they're slightly better than the green Midoriya. Like the yellow Midoriya is slightly better. The red Midoriya is slightly better, but they're not quite as good as the Destruction Midoriya, who does more damage. So they go in C tier. I do have all the Midoriyas, and I've had a chance to play with all of them, and I would say the blue one's the best, Destruction is the second best, the red and the yellow are third and fourth, and then green Midoriya is definitely fifth in the game for usefulness. So keep that in mind when you're using your Midoriyas. Okay? From there, we're going to move on to the USJ All Might, the free-to-play character that anybody can get for 8,000 VE Tower points. VE Tower points? Yeah, I don't remember. VE Tower or USJ, one of the two. Oh man, if I had my game pulled up in front of me. Sometimes I get the shops mixed up, but you guys get the point. Anyways, free-to-play All Might. Where I'd place him is in C tier as well, because he is still better than the green Midoriya. Not as good as the red All Might, who can hit really hard, but decent. I actually just bought this guy. I have him at like level 52 because I ran out of items to level him up. So I don't quite have him at level 80 yet, but based on what I can see, he can hit fairly hard, but from what I know going against him in PvP, because some people do have him leveled up, he is just really, really squishy. So he can die very quickly, so keep that in mind. Next, we're going to do the Shigaraki. This one is the one that can hit like a nuke, and we're going to actually put him in B tier. So, because of his damage, I'm putting him in B tier. However, his usefulness as a character with his active skills and things like that just don't quite hold up to A or S tier, so that's why he's going here. Same with the Destruction type Shigaraki. He can do pretty good damage, but while this one's kind of for a different reason, he is very squishy and can die fairly quickly, pretty easily. Okay. Next, we will do this Bakugo. He also goes in B tier. I think this is the yellow Bakugo. The yellow Bakugo is good because he can give crit to the whole team. However, he does not do a ton of damage on his own, so he's more like a buffer for your team. So I put him in B tier, not quite A tier, just because he doesn't have enough damage. I would then put this destruction type Bakugo in A tier. He is slightly better than the yellow Bakugo. Actually, not slightly better. He's significantly better than the yellow Bakugo. I would say he's only slightly worse than the blue Bakugo. He's definitely the second best Bakugo in the game. Not quite good enough to be S tier, but definitely an A tier unit with the amount of damage he can put out. He does once again have the attack all, and then he has a single targeted attack, so he is a very good character. Okay, and then we'll put this Aizawa in B tier. So I honestly haven't had many experiences with this Aizawa. Not many people run him. He does not quite live up to the yellow Aizawa up here in the double S rank. So I put him in B tier, but he could by all means, this is probably the one character, well, like 1 out of 3 characters that I really just don't know enough about. So I'm placing him in B tier, but he could very well be placed somewhere else. So keep that in mind. Maybe you really like this character, maybe you know more about him, let me know in the comments, and maybe I'll move him around. I'll have to learn more about him. But based on what I know, I would put him in B tier currently. Next, I'm going to do Kaminari. Kaminari belongs way up here. Just kidding. Now, Kaminari is one of those characters who a lot of people bag on because he has weird stuff going on for him, and people are like, oh, there's better SRs than this UR character right here. He's terrible. I won't even level him up, blah, 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 blah. Don't sleep on this Kaminari. I've been saying it in every video. I've been saying it for a while now. I do have my Kaminari at level 100 because that Kaminari carried me through the beginning stages of PvP Ultra Arena. Like I said, I made it all the way to Legend rank. He carried me all the way to Elite, if not further, in the first season because of his Attack All plus Ultra. His Attack All plus Ultra literally destroyed whole teams for me on its own. Like, I didn't have to worry because he was there. When you pair this Kaminari right here with Najire or a decent healer, this Kaminari is going to put up numbers, and you know what? It's fine if he hurts your team a little bit because he is doing triple the damage to the enemy team. So this Kaminari can be really, really good, but because of his weird little quirks, I was forced to move him down to B rank. However, personally for me, I think he's like an A rank character, but I am going to keep him B rank just out of fairness. Okay. From there, we're going to move on to this Todoroki. This is another one of those characters that I just don't know a lot about. However, when I have gone against him in comparison to every other Todoroki in the game, he sucks. So that is why I'm placing him in C tier, just because every other Todoroki in the game is so much better. And that's my personal opinion. Feel free to disagree, but every other Todoroki is better. So that's why he goes C tier. So with that said, Red Todoroki. Where would we place him? I would place him in the A tier. I was lucky enough to pull a copy of Red Todoroki. Now, I don't think he's quite S tier or double S tier in terms of PvP because he relies a lot on getting his frostbite off or his burn off on enemies to increase his plus ultra impact or damage, basically. So he is decent, but I would say the blue Todoroki and the green Todoroki are kind of probably like miles ahead in terms of PvP. But as far as PvE goes, this red Todoroki is very, very good. When you pair up the blue Todoroki who increases skill impact with the red Todoroki who can create frostbite and burn and then plus ultra and increases impact even further, it makes this red Todoroki very, very powerful. So keep that in mind for PvE if you did happen to get lucky enough to pull the red Todoroki or the blue Todoroki. However, this is a PvP tier list, so that's why he's going in A tier. And lastly, we have Tokoyami. Tokoyami goes in B tier. I have had the pleasure of facing Tokoyami a few times. People place him usually in the 5th sub slot, kind of like where they would place Kaminari, because he can do good damage. He is just very squishy. He gets targeted quickly. He dies quickly. So he is okay in terms of damage, but he can just die very easily. And these are most all of the characters that are in the game currently. We do have UR Dabi coming out here in a few days, but when the time comes, when we have a few more characters added to the game, if you guys want to see another tier list, if you want to see me make another tier list for PvP, if you want to see a PvE tier list, let me know. I'd be more than happy to do that. If you want to see some SR characters that could be mixed in, of course, these are all UR characters for the PvP list. I could throw in some SR characters. For example, right now I could tell you that Yayorozo is going to be one of the double S tier SRs that you could use for PvP. The green Yayorozo, so keep that in mind. If you want to know more SRs that are really good for PvP, let me know and I'll do a tier list on that as well. Thank you guys for watching. And I will post this tier list for you. You can find the link below in the video. Peace.